welcome to this episode of The F Word. And today we are welcomed with Helen Grundy-Smith, who is from cotton mills. So thank you for coming in, Helen.
You're welcome.
And we're going to be talking today, your F word is Furnish. So can you tell us a little bit about cotton mills and what it does?
Cotton Mills is a full service interior design and soft furnishings company in Cornwall. So we're a kind of small independent company, been trading for about 40 years probably. And everything we do is handmade here in Cornwall, local.
Perfect. And today we're going to talk a little bit about your business journey, and something that makes it different to some of the other guests we've spoken to is that you bought cotton mills a couple of years ago.
Yes.
And so actually your first journey as a business owner started by buying a business that was already kind of up and running. So what made you decide to do that rather than starting something from scratch?
Stupidity, possibly. It's been 2 years, so 2 years on August 22nd. And now, with the benefit of hindsight, as it were, it was very bold move.
Yes, very bold.
Bold.
Yeah.
And that kind of, it sums me up actually, because as a person, I think I am too tenacious, probably to a fault. You know, I'm a big fan of doing, taking risks and getting yourself out there and challenges.
Yeah.
But I think to buy a business that I hadn't had any experience in before, in a place that I've never lived in or been to, and I didn't know the customers or anything, was very probably quite mad. And but I had this big vision, as you usually do, don't you? And this big idea, and I think that belief is like, nothing else matters.
Mm-hmm.
You're just like, I'm doing this. So we ended up doing, everything went well. August was my official handover, and by December, the shit hit the fan, quite literally. December from there was when everything was a realization as to what I'd taken on, possibly bitten off more than I could chew, and just spent all of my energy in trying to rectify. Well, and I say rectify, not rectify, sort of make good.
Mm-hmm.
The situations that were happening, and really a lot of everything was out of our control. As you know, that from December last year, 2022, sorry, the economy just went crazy, didn't it? It changed. I thought our customers weren't going to come to us because it was me that was new.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that. It was a case of, Christmas, things quieting down anyway. But, spending habits within interior design is really, it fluctuates.
Yeah.
We are like, so it was a risky industry. Again, just to add to the whole thing. It's very feast to famine.
Yeah.
Okay, and if anything happens in the world economy, people's spending will change, and we're kind of hit because we're kind of because we're a premium luxury brand, and people are like, that's the last thing I need to think about at the minute.
Mm-hmm.
So everything became from December, everything was incredibly hard. We got burgled.
Wow.
In December as well, and I was like, is this a joke? Like, how can
the universe hates me?
Honestly, it was successional, just shit. And I think I spent that Christmas, just me and my husband, crying all the time. Christmas and New Year, it was horrible. I didn't want to make this all about a very negative thing.
No, but 2 years later, you are still here and you're still trading. So I think we can kind of say that a happy story than maybe it started. And
absolutely,
I just wanted to highlight for people that assume that you start a business and you start very small and it's just you, and you slowly and you build up, that actually there are people out there that are very brave and make bold moves and actually buy and step into the shoes of ready-made businesses with premises and customers and staff and throw themselves in the proverbial deep end, so to speak. So, yeah, and you are still here 2 years later. So what do you love about the business now?
I love it, honestly, and I think you've got to be a certain type of person to run a business or own a business or purchase a business, yeah, because you have to love it. Even when the swords are flying, you have to get up every day and you go into work, and you will you either, if you don't love it, it's going to be even more tough. It really, really, really is. So in answer to your question, my whole love, passion, everything is home. It's so much more to me than just the bricks that you sort of live in. I always knew I was going to do something in this realm. To what degree, I wasn't sure. And in actual fact, when I was younger, very young, and you're sort of thinking about what you want to be when you're older, and people are always asking you, aren't they, what are you going to do when you're older? I said I want to be an interior designer.
Okay.
I always used to watch Changing Rooms and all that crap.
Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen.
Yeah.
Throwback.
It was horrible. It's horrible as well. And but someone told me, you don't want to get into that industry. It's really tough. It's so competitive. You won't earn any money. You've got to be really good. And I was like, I think as a young child, you're very impressionable.
Yes.
So I totally ruled it out.
Yeah.
Which I shouldn't have done, really, because when you've got that passion, I should have persevered with it.
Yeah.
But I didn't. So I went off in this random tangent or whatever I did. But in answer to your question, I just love home. I love making home. I'm not about lavish, big, expensive, crazy interiors. I just want to, when someone comes to us and they are, they can't creatively vision how they want their space to look or feel. And that's where I come in. And sometimes I've got no rhyme or reason as to why we're doing the scheme that we're doing, or the layout or the design. Sometimes it just feels this is what should happen here. I like to think that we have honed our aesthetic over the course of the couple of years. We sort of do stick to that, because anything that comes outside of that is probably outside of our comfort zone. Things that are maximalist and things that are trend led or ostentatious, audacious, we're quite muted.
Timeless,
love it. And it needs to feel like an elegant flowing space, a space to breathe, a space to relax, a sanctuary. And in actual fact, that's probably only the reason why I am still standing where I am now, is because of my home that we purchased at the same time down here in Cornwall.
Just to add another thing.
And that all fell apart in December as well. I just to add to it. My husband and I didn't know anyone. And the house was falling apart, and I thought my business is going to fall apart. And we couldn't call anybody out either, because obviously Christmas, everything was closing. And we couldn't call in a favour from anyone. But in essence, she's a 200-year-old cottage, by the way. It's not like, which I love. And that space, that little detached little cottage, has helped me survive so much, I think, because it's your space. And it's just sort of set up more or less now, I guess, how I love it. And it's where I can go and be and just relax and just quieten down from the mental day that it usually is.
And what does the process look like? So a new customer comes to you. Is it more likely that they're creating a brand new space? Is it that maybe they want to change? What's the kind of process you go through getting to know them, so you know what it is that might suit them?
I think still for us, it's still quite a mixed bag, our customers. And I think recently underwent a complete rebrand,
Yes, it's
which
beautiful.
oh, thank
It's
you.
so beautiful.
I love it, and it was a big investment. It was a big decision, and it was always sort of planned. We used a brilliant company called the Brand Muse, who I just love, and they took what was in my head for the company and just articulated it
Yeah.
into these beautiful designs. Yeah. So I would say now our customers are interested in design. They are like, we know what we want. We don't know quite how to get there. We need to have full home redecoration.
Yeah.
So, but just to add, by the way, we don't do remodeling.
Mhm.
We don't sort of knock down walls and things yet,
Yeah.
but we do the decoration bit. And our customers that come to us sort of already have an understanding of our artisanal based legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we will always be true to that. We will always be about handmade, locally sourced, locally made, traditional making methods as well. Yeah. So we've spent a bit of time curating the kind of fabrics that we love and the companies that we want to work with. Typically they can be British, but then again it's harder nowadays, and but we spend a lot of time working on that kind of sustainability,
Yeah.
as it were. It's always scary to use
Yeah, and
that word because
responsible, I think, as well,
responsible.
isn't it?
That's
It's
great.
about kind of looking where making good choices. So
Yes,
not
exactly.
necessarily always the most sustainable,
Yeah,
but they're responsible and they're well considered.
thought out. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly that. Considered is an excellent word. So usually they will find us online. For our website is a massive um, landing page,
Mhm.
as it were, for us, and you can quite clearly see like what we're about, and our services are listed there. You download our service guide, and I think that speaks to you, or it doesn't. And I have a challenge ahead of me, I think, because I kind of feel like I'm fighting the challenges of the world, which are mass
Yeah.
consumerization.
Yeah.
So I'm not here to knock any companies, but we will never look to mass producing our items.
Yeah.
And using companies that are just all about fast
Yeah.
production,
Yeah.
and cheaply. It just doesn't work for me. It doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
So I think our clients gravitate towards that kind of, and we have which I'm so grateful for, by the way, such a repeat
Mhm.
customer basis that know us, love us, and purely I put it down to my team. Absolutely. I'm pretty useless. I'm don't know what I'm doing most of the
You're
time.
underselling yourself,
Uh,
but
I feel that I'm there just to hold the shit show together, but ensure we're legal and develop the business. But my team are just so brilliant at what they do that's why our customers are like, we wouldn't really go anywhere else
yeah.
but Cotton Mills, and that to me is the best compliment and the best space to be in, I think. So yeah, I think our customers gravitate towards us kind of organically,
Yeah.
there for want of a better word.
And then their friends go into the houses and say, "Oh my goodness, who did this?"
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
you build up through that flow.
yes,
And I think it's clear. I know you say that it's your team and not you, but how passionate you are about it and about your
yeah,
business and helping people. And I think that will come through to your customers
I
that are
hope so.
coming to use you.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part of the whole process? Is it the initial idea gathering? Is it seeing the final finished room or space for somebody? Which bit do you enjoy most?
I think I genuinely, and it probably sounds like a cliche, but I absolutely love the bit when the installation is complete. Clive's been round, done his beautiful work, and then they write or call us the next day to say, "I'm delighted with my home, and I'm delighted with my this beautiful handmade sofa or chair that they've had." And we'll hear from them 6 months, 7 months down the line, or the next year, because that item or whatever we've done is still bringing them so much joy,
Oh, yeah.
and I have been emotional sometimes actually when a client is talking to me about, and it sounds silly. We're not obviously saving lives. I get it, but at the same time, that amount of joy and sort of satisfaction, if you can bring to someone, is huge.
Yeah. And our
It's huge.
homes are such important places for everybody. And I
Yeah,
think, going back to when we had the period of lockdown and you couldn't leave your homes, I
yeah,
think that was a real switch for people about maybe giving a little bit more thought or time into the space where they're having to spend so
yeah,
much time.
absolutely.
And lives are busy, everything's busy. We're constantly kind of on the go
Mm,
and technology and meeting people and doing stuff. So actually to have a space that feels that it's reflective of you and that's calming,
mm,
that is huge. And
mm.
again, I know you make reference to not saving lives, but it's creating something where someone feels safe
Yeah,
and can relax and unwind and
yeah.
being able to sort of look around and think, oh, I love it
Yeah,
here.
absolutely. And some people won't necessarily know what's missing from their lives.
Yeah.
Take a home office for example. It's happening so much more now, and they won't understand why they can't, why the space isn't working for them,
Yeah.
or even think that. But if you go in and you start to think, no, this we can do this, and this, change this color, change a few of the furnishings, and you will be a different person,
Yeah.
whether it's a home office, whether it's the
Mhm.
kitchens are huge. I love kitchens because it's where we spend so much time.
Yeah.
And if you're stressed but you're not quite sure why you're stressed because it's so cluttered, or the layout's wrong, or the finishes are so cheap and nasty, it's just adding extra stress to already is, let's be honest, quite a stressful life,
Yeah.
isn't it? And I think sometimes people assume that interior designers are expensive, like it's way out of our league. It's not
Mhm.
even a thing on their radar. And that is, I understand, because that has happened. And some firms definitely lead us to believe that. But there's also ways of, cheaply and cost effectively
Yeah.
making little adjustments, little hacks that are profound, like
Yeah.
really profound. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe making one or two changes or moves rather than a dozen
Yeah. All at
because you're
once.
not entirely sure what it is you're trying to achieve.
Yeah,
So actually
absolutely.
taking it.
Yeah.
What slightly sort of different directional question, but what's your favorite season when it comes to styling?
Mm. I want to say autumn.
I had a feeling that, yeah, your house suddenly
Yeah.
from September just turns into
Turns
this
into this
lovely
different.
autumnal.
Yeah. It really is. I'm an autumn and spring person,
Okay.
so I don't like the extremes of summer and winter.
Hmm.
Or the spring feels fresh and like new beginnings and little tidy ups, but autumn feels like, cozy,
Yeah.
obviously, and hunkering down. And I love it 'cause I love candles. I love lighting.
Yeah.
I love blankets. You know, so I'm going to definitely say autumn. I think
Autumn.
is my season.
Megan will
Yeah.
be, who does all the marketing and sets these up, will be pleased to hear that
Oh,
because,
really?
yeah, you probably see them around the office, been sneaking little pumpkins and
Oh.
autumnal things into the office for us.
Love it.
You touched a minute ago on Clive, who comes in and does
Yeah.
stuff. Do you want to talk a little bit about his role, and what
Yeah.
he does?
Clive i- is brilliant. And I don't just mean that, because you'd think I would say things like that, but he's probably one of the faces of our company. Our clients don't even know me sometimes,
Mhm.
and they will just phone up and want to talk to Clive or book Clive in for his measure. And he's been, there's something very special about, a team member who has worked for a company for like 10, 15 years.
Mhm.
It's an incredible amount of loyalty,
Yeah.
of trust, of just it's incredible. So he knows all of our customers, along with almost everybody else in Cornwall. It feels like sometimes, and there's not much that he hasn't really seen or done,
Hmm.
in terms of, he makes all our things. He measures all of the window treatments, installs them, of course, and he's just so unflappable as a person. and it's brilliant because he's incredibly mild mannered.
Mhm.
So I think he makes people feel very comfortable in their own home, because sometimes it's you don't want a contractor that's
Yeah.
awkward or weird or whatever.
Yeah.
So and he puts some people immediately at ease, because some people will get very anxious about the fact that this doesn't work and this isn't working for us and we don't know what to do here, and he'll just come up with a solution, and then they're like, okay, cool, and then we just take care of the rest, and that is, you can't
Yeah. And so
price
when you
that.
say full service, you really mean
Mm,
from speaking to customers, finding out what it is that they want with their space,
yep.
helping with design and all of the bits come with it, and then actually making it
Mm,
and installing it. So
yeah,
we're talking full end to end that's
from end to
happening
end.
within your
Yeah,
business.
yeah, it is. And we made a service, a bespoke service called Design and Measure, and because we found that I wanted to develop much more input into someone that just maybe just wants a perfect pair of curtains. That's no problem, but we can also give you this design and measure service that is so inexpensive.
Hmm.
We put together, and Jess will do it usually as well now. Perfectly beautiful scheme, layout, styling, for want of a combination, and you've got then your mood board, you've got your direction, and and then we follow that all the way through. So we'll obviously do the samples, and we'll you choose the fabrics with them together, the paint colors, the flooring, and then yeah, we install the rest, make and install the rest. Yeah,
I guess as you say that, it's realizing actually what it is that you guys are doing there and
yeah,
the service. And I think reflecting back on what you said earlier around like FMCG, fast moving consumer goods,
that's the one.
fast fashion,
Yeah,
things where actually you can go out sort of cheaply and buy stuff and do stuff. We are seeing more of that,
yeah.
and the move on to online shopping and things, which all of those have a place,
Hmm.
but to still have businesses out there that are still doing these really um, bespoke, hands-on, traditional methods,
Tradition.
really, I think, of
Yeah.
working with people is really lovely that that is sort of still out there. And
Yeah. It's so important, I think, as well, because some of these methods, like upholstery and the sewing that we do, um, are like like hundreds of years old, and that's why they're that old,
Mhm.
because they work and they're incredibly beautiful, as well as being completely different
Mhm.
to uh, you know, something that is just rushed or mechanically put together.
Yeah.
And if the people aren't still, if you don't start trying to keep that alive,
Mhm.
that will die out,
Yeah.
and that would be half of my workforce, for example, would be without a job
Yeah.
because that's all
Yeah.
they know.
And we spoke earlier around the creative industry and how it does have lots of challenges
Yeah,
through the sort of fast movement that we have, but also through digital and
digital.
AI and things like
Yeah,
that. So I
yeah,
think nurturing those crafts, isn't it?
yeah.
And keeping those
And it's
alive.
really scary. And there's days that I really do think, am I mad? Why would I continue this? As more you see more businesses sort of closing and things. But I don't care. I'm still staying with it.
Good, good. It's glad to hear. And is there any bit of advice that you'd like to give anyone if they're, looking at their space, looking around, thinking, what could I do here? That
Yeah.
you think, what sort of questions should they be asking themselves?
Please, I would say, please don't feel you need to do it yourself. There will be so many elements that, and again, interior design has this kind of look of we just make cushions look pretty, and it's classic. You hear it all the
Yeah.
time, but in actual fact, it's much more than that. We will be our attention to detail will be completely different to someone that is not regularly and completely invested in doing that.
Yeah.
So your eye is trained differently. You will see things completely differently. So yeah, I think a lot of the time people have sometimes come to us quite late,
Mhm.
and they're like, decorated because they kind of think, oh, I like this and I like this will work. And then they're kind of like, it's not happening. It's not, I need to pull this together
Mhm.
because, you need to have some sort of cohesion. You need to have some sort of basis to work from when you're remodeling, when you're redecorating a whole room. There needs to be a basis to start from because we could like everything. I could like mid-century, I could like traditional, I could like a modern and contemporary. They all won't go together
Yeah.
in that space.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, narrowing down a few more decisions of what won't work is a huge help in itself. And then just, confirming that you must have what you like. Absolutely. No one is going to ever take that away from you. You will be living in the space. It's not about me going, oh, we need to do this and this in here because no, it's not for me. So, so you will always, they'll always have a hand in the decision making completely, but ruling out what perhaps won't work. And that is what you need kind of professional guidance on, I think, sometimes.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming in and talking to me today
Yeah.
about your business journey, and the beautiful work that you create at Cotton Mills.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on to the F Word.
Oh, thanks.